we have so many coming of age films out there, and I love that genre. But I'm like, we
Yeah.
need a coming of middle age film. There is a second puberty that happens with women specifically, and it's not talked about. I'm like, if men went through anything similar to menopause, it would be all everywhere. But here we are. We go through this whole change in life, and I
Welcome to the Relaunch podcast. And my heart is big, but yet there's also this pull. And my guest today, wow. I mean, this is going to be a true story of bold transformation,
mm,
really looking at life within a different lens, literally a different lens. Who I have today on is Katie Prentiss. She's an award winning actor, filmmaker, known for her films like Winter Island and Front Porches. Katie began her acting career not when she was brand spanking young and kind of going out there and I'm going to do this. She actually started it later in life, and we're going to talk about that. And she's been doing this since 2020. And it really started after a very deep personal loss. And it was something near and dear to my heart as well. And we're going to go into that loss, that relaunch. And it's a journey that left a lasting impact on her life, on her art, where she's going in life. This is going to be one of those inspirational shows that you're going to want to listen to over and over again. So join us as we dive into Katie's inspiring journey of reinvention and creativity. Katie, I've been looking forward to this so much.
thank you for having me, Hilary. It's so nice to be here with
Oh,
you.
and when we met, it was like we were soul sisters. And
Yes,
sometimes we are brought together because of similar life relaunches.
right.
And that was one that we had. And I would love to start with having you talk about this massive life altering relaunch that happened to you that changed everything literally
Mm.
and got you into a brand new profession, becoming an actress. We're going to talk all about that because I know there's a lot of people out there that are, we all as little girls were like, ooh, could it be? Could it be? So tell us your journey.
Wow. Where do we start, Hilary?
I
You
know.
know,
Isn't it the truth?
yes, yes.
How do you even start the
I
conversation?
think for me, I love the perspective that being in midlife gives us because I can look back and see seasons and chapters of my life and know that they move on. That's not the complete story. And I feel like that gives me so much hope when we're thinking about whatever season we're in. Maybe it's not the most inspiring or exciting time in our life, but things can change. And I feel like my story does showcase that. So I feel like I'm a person who always gravitated towards stories. I was an English major in college and then had my four little children and stayed home with them for a while and then moved into a career as a portrait photographer for years. I've had that business for 17 years now. And even with that, I felt like I focused so much on people's stories. Well, then at the young age of 62, my mom was diagnosed with frontotemporal dementia. FTD is what is easier to say.
Mm. But
um,
dementia and
yes,
dementia that was progressive
right.
faster than, yeah.
Yeah, FTD is a type of dementia that less people know about, but it's the most common type of dementia under the age of 65. So I was young, late 30s, when we realized my mom had this. We realized a lot was going on with her and we weren't sure what it was. And it took a while to get the diagnosis. But that's a devastating journey to be dealing. You're thinking about your mom being your kid's grandma and like coming to give you support as a parent. And then lo and behold, my siblings and I found ourselves being the parent to our mom. Um, that journey of walking my mom to the end of her life.
How long did it take before she passed?
My mom was diagnosed at 62 and we lost her at 68. So 6 years. And she
You know,
was with,
I often think, sometimes because my mom was diagnosed with colon cancer and we lost her 14 months later, the it's still, and I've lost grandparents in
right.
tragic car crashes that they died, right there and then. And so there's this, which is better? Is it the lengthier loss? Is it the shorter loss? It's like nothing is good. It
No,
all feels like that knife going into your heart.
right. And they're all very different types of
Mm,
crisis or trauma, right?
mm,
Because you have the trauma of an unexpected death is just the shock and trying to
right.
process the trauma of losing someone to dementia is the grieving while they're still alive. You're grieving the loss that's right in front of your face constantly because my mom was disappearing very actively even while she
And
was
before
alive.
this, you guys were just, she was your rock. You were really super close.
Yeah. My mom was just a sweetheart. She was like
Mhm.
a happy-go-lucky, like do anything for you type of person. So,
Mm.
she'd come to the house and I knew she'd be like cleaning and supporting however I would need her to. So,
I love
yeah,
that you're saying cleaning.
it was
That's like
amazing,
my love language. You come to my house, you start cleaning. That is all good by me.
right? I mean,
Totally,
who else would do that besides your mom?
totally. Just like tidying things up. I remember those days of Juju Bean doing it too. No doubt.
Yeah, just like walk in and start doing it. And I'm like, go do it. Like, that's amazing.
But one of the things that you and I both talked about is that there is that moment that you do lose your mom. You lose the
Mm,
conversations.
mm.
I felt like it happened the second she called me and said, I have 13 tumors in my liver. I was like from that point on, we never had
Mm,
the joyful conversations again. Never.
yeah.
Like it was so abrupt. It was so like
Mm.
every conversation was doctor's appointments and what we were going to do and cancer treatments and it was awful. It was
Yeah.
awful. So you're watching your mom
Yeah.
slowly disappear.
Mhm.
What is that even like?
Yeah. It's it's funny because looking back, I think we were losing her before we even were aware of the FTD
Mm,
because we saw my mom's personality shift. Even when I was in college,
yeah.
saw major shifts happening. So I know the degeneration of her brain was happening like way before. It's just no one was aware of what was going on. Um, she lost her personality, she was always real tender, like she would cry at commercials or movies, and that went away. My mom had primary progressive aphasia, which means she lost her ability to speak. So even communicating with her, it's kind of like you said with your mom, like
Mm,
you're all of a sudden your conversations are shifted toward
mm,
medical and
mm.
this crisis, and I think that's a grief too because you don't get to share in like the regular life anymore. With my mom, it's like not even she wasn't able to like say anything. So it's almost like I nannied for an autistic child when I was younger, and
Mm.
it felt like that, like my mom was stuck inside, deep inside, and I wanted to reach in and be able to get to her, but there was just such a barrier with the dementia.
So your mom passes
Mhm.
and you decide to do something completely different. And as you said, you have 4 kids.
Yeah.
I mean, you are not like, just sitting on the sidelines, having
No.
some bonbons,
No.
hey, this life is great. You're a busy, busy person. And so tell us about that relaunch because I'm fascinated how that
Yeah.
all happened.
Yeah, thanks. I think like there's nothing like being really close to death and like losing someone like that gives you perspective on life. Like, what do I actually want my life to be about? And I was actually like I'm thriving in my photography business and I'm literally at work and I'm thinking, oh, I don't have a bucket list. That'd be fun to make a bucket list. And I literally was like, I only know of one thing I want to put on there. And I want to be on a set, because I was seeing like different productions film around town. And so I was like, I'm going to put like be on a set on my bucket list. It wasn't even like I want to be an actor. I was just like
So we're
wanting.
not even talking about like a vision board. You're just like
No,
what I call a believe it board. You're like literally just what's my bucket list? What do I want to do?
just a
And
random idea while I'm
random
working.
idea. Hey, I just want to be on a set. Did you define it like, hey, I want to be an actress, or
No,
no, just hey, I want to be on a set?
because it's almost, it felt like, because I knew so little about the industry or anything about how
Mhm.
things work, it would be the same as like, oh, I think I want to be like a musician in midlife. I'm just going to all of a sudden be this like person who does this work that, you know what I
Which,
mean?
by the way, is happening more and
I
more.
know.
Everyone listening, understand that just because we're in midlife, it is like people are starting fresh relaunches to do the
Yes.
things that they really want. It's go
Yes.
time, everyone. It
Let's
is
go.
now.
Let's
Yes.
go. Like, you don't want to live, I don't want to be at the end of my life wondering what if I had done something.
Okay,
So,
so I
okay.
grew up in LA. I
Yes.
know
You
how
know
tough.
the industry.
Listen, I went to a school, a lot of like celebrity, a lot of
Oh.
celebrity kids, Punky Brewster. I mean,
Oh,
the
amazing.
the big ones.
Yes.
And I mean, it's tough. It's
Yeah.
really tough. So
Yes.
how middle age, you're
Mhm.
like, this is what I want. How did you go about it? First off, like, how did
Yeah.
you even start down this path? Because we talked about some movies you've been in.
Yeah.
There's something super exciting that you're working on right now that we're going to
Yes.
get into. But for those out there that are like, okay, how do you do it?
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you like advice. So there's like all sorts of ways to get your foot in the door. I mean, I would say like if you're really interested in acting, join an acting class, because they'll tell you everything about like the industry and how to do it. I, however, kind of backdoored the whole thing. I thought I would just go be a background actor on a set somewhere just to like say I saw one and it was cool. Instead, I saw a casting breakdown on a female entrepreneur Facebook site. So it almost feels like it landed in my lap. I saw this casting breakdown. The role described the character they were looking for. And I was like, that
What does
kind
that even mean? Hold on. I
of, oh,
need
yeah,
to,
sure,
Katie,
sure, sure.
what is a casting breakdown? If
It,
we don't, we're not in the business. So what is that?
I love that. It was literally a Facebook post that said, we're looking for someone to play this character. Here's the type. And it said like 30s to 40s, like Caucasian female, blah blah blah. And so I wasn't looking for it, but I was in this female entrepreneur Facebook page, and I thought, that okay, well, I fit that type. And it said, you're gonna love this, it said, message us if you're interested. And so I was like, it just says if you're interested, it doesn't say if you're talented. So I'm gonna try. And I was
Ah,
kind of embarrassed because I thought, if anyone, if they're gonna laugh, I thought they're gonna look at my Facebook profile and laugh and just be like, whatever, she's not an actor. But I messaged them and I said, I'm interested. I literally said that much because I thought if I said more, it might like out me. And they were like, great, can you send us a self tape tomorrow? And I was like, I don't know what a self tape is. But
that's what I
immediate,
was about to say.
yeah,
What is that?
yeah. So immediately I Google I'm like Googling self tape, and I'm watching YouTube videos of what do you do on a self tape? It's basically setting your camera up and recording your audition. And I think because I'd been an entrepreneur for so many years, for me, like acting just became that. Like, so basically, I called my husband and I said, can you come to my office after work? And I want you to help me record this thing on my phone. Do not tell a single soul that I'm doing this because I'm going to embarrass myself.
How old are you at this point? I need to know.
I was, I've lost track. I was like in my early 40s.
Okay. So you're early 40s
Mm-hmm.
and you're now doing this. Don't tell anyone I'm doing
Mm-hmm.
this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
And
you do this tape
yes,
and what happens?
I I thought, again, they're gonna laugh, but this is why we take risks. Like, it doesn't matter if people think we're foolish when we're taking a risk and going for what we want. It's worth it. So
Can I tell you, I read a quote that you said,
uh,
people will take you as seriously as you take yourself.
Yes.
I mean, bam, girl, right there.
Yes, I stand by that so much because it's so easy to like disregard ourselves and take ourselves out of the equation. And I always say, like, never say no for someone else.
Mm.
And we do that all the time. We say, oh, I'm not going to do that because they're going to say no. And I kept thinking that they're going to say no.
That's a limiting belief right
Yes,
there. You know
exactly.
what? Nope, I'm not even gonna try because they're gonna it's automatic.
Yes.
Not gonna happen.
So I submitted this audition and I ended up booking this role. And I was like a deer in headlights going to set. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just going to quietly observe and do my best at whatever's about to happen. It wasn't a background role, it was a full scene with a whole conversational dialogue and everything. And I was like a kid in a candy shop in there. I
You
was,
loved it. You loved
yes,
it.
being a portrait photographer,
Mhm,
basically directing shoots for so many years. I love the interaction with
mhm,
people. I love trying to allow people to relax and let them feel some like good vibes on a shoot. And here I was on the other side of the camera, watching cameras, watching lights, watching
mhm,
directors, other actors. And I'm like, I get to just be a piece of this. And in this community, this is
mhm.
phenomenal. And I thought, even on that set, I thought, oh, this is way better for my bucket list item. Like, this is way better than I thought. And how cool.
You really went there. You were thinking that. Okay, so I
Yeah.
do have to ask you this, and I'm always curious whenever I run into an actor, and I'll
Yeah.
ask this, how the heck do you memorize the lines? Like, how is that possible? Like, what is going
Right?
on behind the scenes in the brain? What are you doing?
Yes. Well, this is a thing too, because when was the last time you memorized anything?
I
Like,
get it.
I that was the other thing with me. I was like, "Oh, I haven't memorized something in so long. I wonder if I can even do this." And so, I mean, there's a lot of different strategies people use. I think with dialogue, there's like it's so much easier because there's cue words that can kind of trigger what your response might be, especially if the dialogue makes sense. If you have a very technical dialogue, like medical or legal or
Yeah,
like whatever tech jargon, it can be
yeah.
really complicated.
Okay, what is the longest, like, speech monologue that you
Ooh,
ever have done so far that you had to
oh,
memorize
that's a great. Well, I mean, I played a lead, and leads in a film. You're memorizing like
all the time?
like hundred pages.
Are
Like,
you
I mean,
kidding? Okay, so I went and saw the guy from, the morning show.
yeah.
He has a one-man show, and I can't remember his
Oh,
name,
amazing.
and I thought about this, I'm like,
How? Yeah.
how the heck is he doing this? Like,
Mm.
it is so impressive. I would have to have, like, this somebody would be holding off on the sides, like, say this next, and you just see the flying paper. It's so impressive.
Yeah.
I really like that. But now let's keep going because I really want to hear that we've talked about the past
Yeah.
relaunch. We talked about the pain. We talked
Hmm.
about how hard it is to kind of move forward. The fact that you
Mm.
like woke up in midlife and you're like, what do I really want to do? Bucket list. This is
Yeah.
what I'm going to be doing.
Yeah.
And now you're involved in this. So this is
Yeah.
like your life. You're
Yeah.
doing this.
I literally was like, okay, I got away with that once. I wonder if I can get away with this again. And I was like, I have nothing to lose. This is what midlife gives us. I have a family, I have a career. Like, all of this is like rich and beautiful. So why not
Yeah.
try something else too? But I approach it like, okay, I have I don't have a lot of time in my mind. I don't really believe that, but I also felt that. Like,
Mhm.
if I'm going to do this, I want to be all in. And so I immediately sign up for acting classes. I like throw myself into it. I study everything I can. I like expose myself. I audition for everything I can get
Mhm.
because I'm like, let's go. If we're going to go, I want in.
Yeah.
And
It's go time.
yeah. And so one of the things my acting coach talked about was creating your own work as actors. And you see actors all the time as producers and directors of shows. Half the time, the lead actor is a producer on a show because they know they have to produce their own work. So it
I've
was,
seen that. That's
mhm,
really interesting.
yeah. And I'm telling you, it's like, okay, let's talk about odds, even though I don't even care about odds, but like midlife white woman trying to act. Oh, there's not any of us in this industry that want to book roles, right? And how many roles are there for women
Right.
over 30, much less even older? So I was like, oh yeah, no one is
So
going,
then
I'm
I have
gonna,
to ask, it's coming up, I have to do it.
yeah.
There seems like with all of the streaming, with
Hmm.
Amazon Prime, with Netflix, all these different, it seems like now there's actually a lot more opportunity to create. Is that not true? I mean, in the past, it seemed like you were either on the movies, like in the movie, you've got a TV
Yeah.
show, and it was kind of like in when I was growing up, people didn't cross over. Now everyone's crossing over, they're doing it,
Yeah.
which maybe makes it even more challenging because then now you've got women like Jennifer Aniston who are in major
Right.
feature films and they're doing
Yes.
TV and they're doing all these other things.
Yes, and with COVID and the pandemic and then also the strike, there's like scarcity. So a lot of the bigger named actors are now taking commercials that they would never take and like et cetera. So it's interesting that the industry is
Mm,
very saturated. And so on one hand, you're like, oh, cool, there's so many streaming platforms. Maybe we can get some films out there. However, it's so saturated that how do you get eyes on your film? Like how do you I think about we used to all
totally.
watch the same things. Now, like, you can't even keep up. You're like, you could be at a dinner with four people and everyone's watching completely different shows and you haven't even heard of the shows people are watching.
That is so true. And I do this when I go out with people. I'll
Yeah.
say, "So what is the favorite show you're watching right now?"
Yes.
And I
And
have
it's,
my little list on my phone.
yes.
And I mean, I just watched Shogun. I'm like, "What?" Like,
Yeah.
"Huh?"
Yeah.
And now I'm on to this next one and I'm like, everything, you're right. I would never like there's shows that I don't even know about. I haven't even heard about. So you're
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So I think that there's probably going to be another shift where like all these streaming platforms have divided and gotten more and more and more and I think there's going to have to be something because the way the industry is like money 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 and it's like if people aren't making money on their films like are and there's a whole is there a return to the theater, like are people supporting theaters in the same way that they
Mm.
used to? So it's interesting. I think all of that is happening and also like I am like I'm in my own lane and I'm doing my own thing and like I kind of am like yes that's super important and whatever, I'm like gonna be working.
It's a great spot to be
Yeah.
middle-aged and
Yes.
have that type of, "You know what? Love my family, love my kids.
Yeah.
If this works, great.
Right.
I'm having fun doing it." But let's talk about this future relaunch, what you're
Yes.
working on,
Yeah.
where you're going, because 'cause you're doing something that when I heard about it, I was just like, I'm right now getting chills and people don't even know what we're
Oh.
talking about. But share where you're going now.
Yeah.
What's the next big project for you?
Well, it's been a phenomenal journey. I feel like I am living my like calling and passion now because so where I put it on a whim in 2018 to like start acting and now here in 2024 I am making my first feature film, my first full-length movie. I've made a number of short films and projects that I'm really proud of. Those have been like my education and also like building community. But this film is called Wake Up Maggie, and it's it's my mission, honestly, Hilary. It is a film that is I wrote the script. It's the context is fiction, but the story is so true. It's either based exactly on my experience with my mom, like the different snippets and
And
interactions.
your mom's name was
My
Maggie.
mom's name was Maggie. Yeah. And
Hmm.
I'm actually playing Maggie in the film.
Remember when we first talked? This is great. You're like,
Yes.
I'm doing this, I might do that. And I said, why are you saying might?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't
Yeah.
this? Look,
Yeah.
what? And you're like, that day you said, you know what? I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
I'm going to play the part. And
Hmm.
even now I got chills head to toe.
Yes. Yes.
It's so good.
Yeah.
And so you wrote it
Hmm.
and you're going to direct it
Yes.
and you are going to be the executive producer on it.
Yes.
I mean, we're
Correct.
talking like trifecta here, girl.
I know. I am working so hard. But it's the kind of work that even though it's like, wow, I've been working for 2 years on this project and it's like so fulfilling and so rewarding and I keep saying like the energy and the impact that this film has had already and we haven't even filmed it yet. And it's like it blows my mind. I keep saying to my producer, I'm like, we are impacting people. People are coming to me and telling me their stories and they don't even like the film hasn't been filmed yet. And I'm like, just think about what's going to happen when people get to watch this story unfold on the screen and see.
Tell us a little bit of the premise, because
Sure.
you said when we were talking last, you made such a great comment. You said midlife is, it's here for so
Mm,
many of us. And I think that there's a stat that says 1.3 million women enter into midlife every single year. So hey,
yeah.
we're here. This is our,
Yes.
the vibe is in the tribe. We're vibrating right now at
I
that
love
midlife.
that. I love that.
And you said it's so incredible how you're finding women that are coming together to support
Yes.
you and each other. But
Yes.
keep going with this and the context of what you have created and why is this happening? Why is there this huge groundswell around this movie?
Um, for a few different reasons. So I'm calling this film a coming of middle age film. We have so many coming of age films out there, and I love that
Mm,
genre. But I'm like, we
yeah.
need a coming of middle age film. There is a second puberty that happens with women specifically, and it's not talked about. And I think primarily because men have always been in charge of all of our medical fields and whatnot. And so I'm like, if men went through anything similar to menopause, it would be all everywhere. But here we are. We go through this whole change in life. And I think that the women I see in my life come into their own in such a beautiful way in midlife. It's like we start to own who we are, and it's less pretense, it's less distrusting your own intuition. It's all of the things that we've done to survive through our years, and then we get so grounded in midlife. So Wake Up Maggie is a journey of Maggie in midlife, moving from believing and controlling a lot of her life until she can't. She gets a wake up
Mhm.
call that forces her
Mhm.
to move into a place of acceptance.
Mhm.
And Maggie's journey, so just a little bit about the film is Maggie tightly controls her life until she gets a call from her estranged sister that she's in trouble. And she has to decide whether to enter into Jane's life and help her. But she's the consummate caregiver. So she says yes. And when she goes to help her sister, she realizes more is going on. So it's a journey of Maggie coming into acceptance, and it's through caregiving. I call it my love letter to caregivers. Anyone who has sat bedside, helped their
Oh,
loved one eat, all the things that we
mm,
do where we can barely get our own showers or our own meals. It's that journey of desperation of what am I going to do next? How do I figure this out? Like what doctor do I need? Who do I call? It's all of that that you know so well and so personally, Hilary. And so many of us know, but it's such an invisible role. And I want caregivers to feel visible in this. I want women in midlife to feel visible in this. And men too. I think that this is a film that is going to make us feel seen. And I think this industry believes that midlife women like don't matter as much, but I want to prove that we're a vibrant audience, that we're a vibrant life force, and like bring everyone out to the theaters to see this film and celebrate the journeys we've been on to know that there is hope and healing at the end and relaunches, right?
and relaunches. And I think we're all sitting here smiling because you're right. There's been a lot of coming of age movies,
Mm-hmm.
but there's a swell. There's this like momentum building for
Yeah.
midlife and
Yes.
talking about it and discussing the wellness, the mindset, the physical aspects of it, the the need. I mean, right now, if you think about it, we have such wisdom. And
Yes.
as you continue to grow, there's so much. And yet there's this feeling of being irrelevant.
Right.
And like, what, wait, what? There's like so much, but people think, oh, you're not tech savvy, you're not this, you're not that. And oh, you're getting older and the workplace is getting younger. Let me tell you, I mean, I
Mhm.
work with thousands of women
Yes.
and I bring women together in these, incredible events. When they start to share what they want to do in this next act, right? The next chapter, it's incredible. What we need is the confidence, as you said. People will take you as seriously as you take yourself. Confidence. It's
Yes.
like, this is it. You've
Yes.
got to do it now. And you creating this movie, perfect timing. So,
Mm.
when are you starting to film? When do you expect it to come out? And how can we help you get it out
Oh, I love that question. So we're filming in February 2025, and post
there? Where are you filming? Where are you filming?
we're filming in Portland, Oregon.
Okay.
We have been fundraising, but I feel like fundraising is like energy raising, right?
Mm,
It's like money, time, energy, it's like all from the same bucket. And so when I look at people who have jumped into this project with us, I'm like, this is our community. Like this is our audience. This we get to celebrate this work together and I cannot wait. So um my hope is as we grow our community around this project and this film, that we'll get to all celebrate in theaters across the country together for screenings. My hope is to finish the film within a year of shooting it. Post production,
how long will it take to shoot it?
we're going to film in February. We're planning a shoot for about 16 to 18 days.
That is
So it'll be
crazy.
fast. Yeah, I know.
Very fast shoot.
Yeah. If we had millions of dollars, we would take a
Yeah.
little longer.
Okay,
But
Katie, that's your next movie. Let me tell
yes,
you. I work
yes.
with people that have like, okay, we're starting small and they go
Yeah.
big and it doesn't have to take years.
I
So this is
don't think
good.
it should. I mean, it's all about connecting with the right
Mm,
people. And it's about, I think, again, like you said, it's like women in midlife. I cannot count how many of us that I've sat down for coffee with or something. And they're like, let's get your movie made. What do we need to do? And I'm like, I think women just could do anything, especially at this stage in life.
oh my God, I am loving where you're going with this.
Yes.
So at this point,
Yes.
as we are wrapping up the show,
Mhm.
when you think about February,
Mhm.
February, I mean, that is just coming down the
Yes.
pike here, girl.
Yes.
What are you experiencing right now?
Hmm. I honestly am. It's funny because I'll have days where I'll feel anxious and
Mhm.
like I can tell my system is just buzzy and amped.
Yeah.
But if there's any overall feeling, it's just like I feel joy and ease.
Mm,
And there is so much work that has to be done leading into this production, and it is going to be a lot, especially for this
mm.
one right here.
Yeah.
But I, the team that is gathering around me makes me feel so supported, and the energy gathering around this movie, Wake Up Maggie, is so strong that I just have
I'm
zero
buzzing up
doubt.
there. I'm gonna come see you on
Please.
set in February. I'm gonna come to Oregon. I'm gonna be a part of the people behind the scenes watching you
I
just
love.
in your element. I often
Yes.
say that, relaunch, we're in the business of butterflies, like giving people those butterfly moments.
You're
I'm gonna
feeling chills.
capture you in your essence right there, girl.
Ah,
So how can people find out more about this,
yeah.
support you? What can they do?
Thank you. Thank you. I'm everywhere under Katie Prentiss. So katieprentiss.com. All my social media is Katie Prentiss. Wake Up Maggie is social media, Wake Up Maggie movie. on Facebook and Instagram. And then we also have wakeupmaggiemovie.com. So I hope it's pretty easy to find. If anyone wants to come on and support with
Mm.
energy, words, financial backing, we will take it.
And what's the best way to reach out in regards to that?
You can find me through the website. I don't mind a DM, or if you want to just email me through my website. All my contact info is out there. So, and ways to support are on wakeupmaggiemovie.com. We have a fiscal sponsorship, so all of our donations can be tax deductible if anyone needs a tax break. And
Now, how are you able to do that? How are you able to
yeah,
give people a tax break?
we are under a fiscal sponsorship here in Oregon. So it's a nonprofit community theater called Hollywood Theater, and we had to go through a pretty intensive application
Mm,
process to be sponsored by them, and it's something I'm
wow.
really proud of. We've also received a grant locally and things like that. So um, the
Mm,
fiscal sponsorship just feels like such a lovely community effort. And I think it
yeah,
works so well for a movie like this that's going to raise awareness and impact so many lives. To
it
be
certainly
under
will.
the umbrella of a nonprofit is just a really beautiful opportunity for us.
Katie Prentiss, thank you for being here today.
Thank you,
And
Hilary.
I am so excited to see where you go and to see, at one of these years to have you get up there and accept the Academy Award, whether it's Best Actress, whether it is Best Director or Executive Producer. Girl, this is going to happen.
I'm
So thank
receiving
you
that.
again. Mm,
Thank you, Hilary. You're an
I
inspiration to
love it.
me.
Well, everyone, thank you for tuning in today. And again, live now, love now, relaunch now. What are you going to do? Where are you going? What's next for you? Don't stop now. It is go time. We'll be back next week. Thanks again. If you like this video and want to get more like it, head over here.